So this might look quite familiar to a lot of you. This is my home office at the moment. And I know that there's a lot of our clients and my friends and people across the UK who are currently working from home. And not only that, we're all in lockdown, so a lot of us are spending more time in a seated position. So instead of an exercise of the day, I've actually given you a sequence of the day. It'll take you 10 minutes and it's a mobility sequence to get you out of your chair and get your joints moving and get you in a more upright and open position from the front of your body. So we know that sitting down for long periods of time is quite detrimental, and we're seeing that evidence now coming from physios across the UK because we're in about week 5 of lockdown, and what we're seeing is increased back pain, lots of different issues going on just from being in a seated position. And you can see just from my position at the moment that I'm quite rounded through my upper back. And what happens is not only do those muscles become lengthened and weak, but they actually, the ligaments across your joints become lengthened as well. The discs through the spine become compressed. And we want to spend time every hour decompressing the spine, getting length into the spine, strengthening the back of the body and opening out the front as much as we can. Now there are pros and cons of working from home and I'll go through those after the exercises so that we can all do the exercises together. And if you want to go through those with me, then you can after the workout. Definitely a benefit of working from home is that I can share these exercises from outside in the sunshine, which is great. So the first few exercises that I'm going to show you are ones that you can do from your desk, but you can also do the majority of them standing, which is obviously our preferred method of doing our exercises, just whatever suits you best. So the first few exercises as you are working, so on a general basis, as much as you possibly can, get your leg up and get the ankles moving. So not only does this promote circulation through the body, it's also getting the ankle joint moving, which can become really stiff if we're sat for long periods of time. So circling in both directions and pointing the foot up and down. So we want to keep as flexible around the ankle as possible because this is really important just for walking, for getting up out of a chair, for standing, sitting, anything that you need your ankles for first. And it also gives me a little bit of strength work through the quads. So making sure that we do both ankles and spend at least 30 seconds doing this. Now, whether you're still typing or you're on the phone, you want to keep this really good posture as well. So nice and tall through the spine, strong through the core muscles so that we're not slouched back as we're doing this, and pointing and flexing as well. Now it's really important that we keep the big muscles of the legs strong. So again, while you're in a seated position and while you're working away, we can be lengthening and holding the legs straight for about 3 to 5 seconds, and that's going to help to strengthen up the quad muscles. Now one thing that does get really tight is the hip flexor. So I'm just going to slowly move my way up the body. So every 20 minutes, I would like you to get out of your chair. Or 30 minutes or hourly if that's not possible. But I'm sure that we can all get out of our chair every 20 minutes. And not just once, 10 times. And as you're standing up, really squeeze your bottom, your glute muscles, because we want to open out the hip flexor. So what we're trying to do here is do the absolute opposite of what we've been doing for the last 20 minutes. We want to be opening out the front of the body and starting to work into the back of the body, really extending through the back. As you're lifting up, the knees are still facing forward. Oh, this just feels really good because I've been sat down for ages. Your hips are going to love you for this. So I've lost count. So we're aiming for 20, right? And then as you're standing on the last number, 10, sorry, I might have just said 20. On your number 10, we're going to pop our hands onto the small of the lower back. We're going to lift up through the belly and the pelvic floor, squeeze the bum, lift the chest and draw the shoulders back. So we're opening out across the chest. We're feeling the back curving like a rainbow, so what we don't want to do is hinge on the lower back. We're lifting up and round through the spine. That's a bus going past, so thank you again, all of our key workers, it's amazing. And squeezing the bum and holding for about 30 seconds, and your body's just going to love you for this. Now the next lot of exercises are just getting the spine moving in lots of different directions. We can do this when seated. I'm going to show you them standing. So standing, feet underneath the hips, we're going to cross the arms, keep the hips forward, and we're going to just turn and look over the shoulder. And coming back to the middle, turning and looking over the other shoulder. So again, we want to get the spine moving as much as possible. And what this is doing here is we're twisting through the thoracic part of the spine. So this is the bit of the back that sits here, round about the rib cage and up towards the neck. And when this part of your spine becomes tight or immobile, which happens when we're in this position quite a lot, all we're doing is increasing the strain and the stress on the lower back. So any area of the hips or spine that becomes immobile or tight is going to cause some kind of back problem. Okay, if you want a little bit more, you can reach behind. That's going to open out the chest as well. So all up, these exercises are going to take you no more than 5 minutes, but they are so important, especially if you're in a seated position. So whether you're working or not. So what I'm hearing from my friends, okay, I'm going to show you another exercise to keep you moving. So we're going to keep the feet grounded. If you're seated, make sure your bottom stays grounded on your chair. Tummy pulled in, and now I'm just going to get the spine to be moving laterally, side to side. And let your head come with you. So what I'm hearing from my friends is that they're having to set up their home office on their beds just to get away from their children or on your couches, and these slumped positions can be really detrimental to your spine. So please do make sure you're getting up, you're getting mobile. We're aiming all of these exercises 10 repetitions on each side, or do them for about 30 seconds. Okay, so we've moved backwards, we've moved side to side, and we've twisted. So the last thing we're going to work on is the neck mobility, and then we'll do a little bit of strengthening through the bottom. So for the neck, we're just going to let the ear drop down towards the shoulder, feel that stretch down through the neck and into the shoulder. Hold it for a couple of seconds and then slowly to the other side. So making sure that as you're moving your neck, you are doing it nice and slow. You're keeping the core engaged throughout, because we don't want to put this pressure anywhere else in the spine. Gosh, this weather is just amazing. And it might even just help to gently draw the head down, just ease the head in the direction it's going. But we're not forcing this move, we're not forcing the neck in any way. It might just help to hold it. Okay, once you've done 10 on each side, and you might be building up, so today you might be starting with 5. We're going to come to the back of the chair to hold on for support, or you can do this without holding on. So we're strong through the belly, posture is long, and we've got a leg extension. So I'm going to do this 10 times on one leg and then 10 on the other. And what we're doing here is we're working through the bottom, through your glute muscle. And it's so important when you're sitting down for long periods of time, this muscle becomes longer and weaker through time. So it's really important that we strengthen it as much as you can. Try and keep the toes facing forward so that the hip is not rotating, and keep the hip facing forward. Now the low back is going to want to arch to help lift that leg, making sure that the back stays still. Once you've done your 10, we're moving on to 10 on the other side. So if you are working from home, a good tip is to maybe do some of your work outside on the phone, if you've got phone calls to make, or even sitting outside, getting a little bit of sunlight on your body. I'll show you what my phone is propped up on, and you can always pop your laptop. In fact, it's propped up on an ironing board, so you can always pop your laptop on your ironing board outside to do some typing, if you find that helpful. Once you've done your 10, we're going to finish off with a side leg raise. So again, we're just making sure that the muscles that are becoming weak as we're seated are strengthening up. Now we're avoiding leaning away from the legs, so that lateral raise, our core muscles are working hard, our toes are facing forward, and we're working the side of the hip. If you don't need to hold on, we're getting a little bit of balance as well. Once you've done your 10, 10 on the other leg as well. So we had our ankle movements, we had our knee straighteners, our sit to stands, they're really important, 10 of those every 20 minutes would be phenomenal. I'm not sure if that's possible with what you're doing at home. And then we're going to finish off feet hip width and big circles with the hips, hula hoop circles, keeping the shoulders and head still. And then either standing or seated after your sit to stands, you're going to do your side bends, your thoracic twists, your neck lengtheners and strengtheners. And then you're going to come to the back, hip extension, so leg extension to work your bum, leg to the side, and then hula hoops to finish. And seeing as you're standing, go get yourself a glass of water, keep yourself hydrated. I do hope that this helps. So I actually spend quite a lot of my time here. This is my kind of homemade studio and office put together. It's not perfect to be sat on the floor because we are still in a seated position, but it is good to change your position. And this is one of the pros of working from home rather than being stuck to a certain desk in an office. So at least if you're sat on the floor, your hips can be in a different position. Just do make sure that you are in a very upright position. You are holding your core and your posture as best you can. I've got a lot of friends at the moment who have had to move their offices to their bedrooms for various reasons. And it is a great idea just to move around from that position, whether it's you're sat on the floor with your laptop up a little higher. So there's loads of us across the country at the moment who have had to come home to work, our teachers, our office workers, and even Healthy Options staff who are usually quite active out in the gym, out in MoveWell classes. We are standing most of the day, and now we are in a seated position. So there are pros and cons, and it's about finding your best way to manage your situation. So some of the pros are that you don't need to commute in the morning. You can just roll out of bed and you're at work. You don't need childcare. You can create your own office space even outside. You can be more flexible with your time. So I usually work 3 days and I've shifted to 5 days and shortened my hours. And I can save some money because my kitchen's right next door. So I'm not buying coffees on the way to work, and I can do my workouts whenever I like, she says. That is like the fairy tale life, isn't it, really? Because the cons are also that I don't have childcare. So my little girl is asleep at the moment. She's having a wee nap. I've got distractions all the time, so I know that I've got a big pile of washing to get done. I'm in a seated position for way longer than I'd like to be in, so please do make sure you're getting moving about. It's very difficult to separate your work-life balance because you're at home all the time. There's no social click to say it's time to go to work. Oh, such and such has come in, it must be coffee time. Or I'm off for a walk, I'm off for my lunch. Oh, it's home time, I better stop working. So I'm sure we all know somebody who is getting up at a ridiculous time to start work, and actually what the studies are suggesting is that people are working harder from home. I guess because there's nobody there to physically see you working. So please just really think about what you're doing. I actually have a little timetable that I put together. It's not very realistic, but sometimes it helps me to realise, well, actually, I should be at lunch now. I should be going out for my afternoon walk. I should be working now. I should be checking my emails. I'm going to go for a walk while I do some phone calls. So that is one way. Another way is to maybe set some alarms on your phone to say, get up and move around now, because it is really easy to be on a task and actually just not go anywhere with it. So I do hope that those that helps, and that you do get up and move around and do some physical activity as much as possible. Less time seated. Get creative. Let me know what you've done to get creative with your work environment, because that'll help me as well. And if you are watching this on YouTube, please do subscribe to the channel and have a great day.